So the next phase of this I'd like to focus on is the rocket ship. So the rocket ship isn't looking terrible right now. We got a squash, we got a stretch, but it kind of comes up off the ground, kind of sluggish. And then the way it arcs back here, I'd like to play around with some of that bend, and maybe even dip it here a little bit as it goes off screen, right? So really, I just want to refine this animation that we currently have. Right? So let's look at a few places where I want it to be a little bit better. So I like this anticipation down, and then the shoot up is nice, but then it just kind of drifts off the ground. So we'll work on that in the graph editor a little bit. Right here, as my ship goes back, I think I want to arc it a little bit. So if we go to our animation menu, and we say visualize motion trail editor, I guess. Is this the, I'll have this is a little bit new, and create motion trail. You'll see that the transition from 145 to 155 is a straight line. Right? And I really just halfway through this, I'd like it to just kind of arc down a little bit more. So I'm going to grab this control and just kind of adjust that curve there. And in the process of arcing it like that, I'm also going to bend it along that arc, right? So something like that, and then go hit S. And so let's see, so now we see the back end of it start to bend first, and then we get to here. I could even play around with the idea of bending it the other way now, but well, I'm not going to sweat that too much. I like this anticipation back, and then this takeoff here. I think I would like just for some fun. I'm going to push it down a little bit so it arcs down, and then bend it up. Maybe arc a little bit. So I also thought about something here as we were working. It takes off, but then we just kind of sit there for a while, right? What if it sort of shoots back across the sky in this direction? So let's just add us a little bit more time here. Let's do like 240. Try that. So I can take it off frame. Right? So it goes off frame by frame, 180. And so what I can do is over a few frames, I can take it further off frame over to here, rotate it all the way back around this way. I'm going to pull some of that stretch out of there. Get 0.2, right? And then I can animate it. Zooming across. I'll probably go ahead and raise it up by the end of it. Here. What does that do? Yeah, I'd want to dramatically dip it. Right. That's too high. Let's see if that's reading better now. I'm going to go ahead and delete this motion trail, and then we can just watch it again. That's not bad. So I think the things that we're wanting to work on now are going to be in the way it pops up off the ground and sort of this hang time before it sort of dips back, and sort of the timing and the energy of it. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and get into the graph editor. I could do it with more keyframes, but this will just work better. So I'm going to go under my panels here. I'm just going to change my perspective view to graph editor. There we go. And so Let's see my. There we go. I'm going to turn my. I have it selected, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it selected, but then turn them off again. And I'm also going to turn off my lights just so I can see this a little bit better. There we go. Right. And I want to focus in because it's one control, but everything I need is on this one control. So we know translate Y. That's how the object comes up off the ground, right? I think that's part of our energy issue here. Is right now we get that really snappy stretch, but then it just sort of sluggishly comes off the ground. So let's go ahead and break this tangent, just like we did with the bouncing ball. Break that tangent. I'll do something a little bit more like this. And that way it can hit the top of this and kind of hold there a little bit. Now with this as well, maybe this is also part of the issue. We eventually get back to this location, but maybe here this needs to dip even lower. And then back up. So I'm going to introduce you to a new tool. I believe it's new. I'm not sure if I've shown you this before. Keys, add key tool. So if I highlight here on my time or anywhere on my curve, I can middle mouse click to add a new key. Right? And so this will allow me to kind of sculpt the animation the way I want it. And so let's try something like this. I put that a little lower and then adjust that like that so it's a little sharper. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's helping. Maybe adjust this tangent a little bit like this as well. Same here. And pull that up just a little bit. There we go. That's feeling pretty good. And then right here, as we're climbing up, I'm going to set this to linear and dip that just a touch more. Go ahead and rotate it up. There we go. Just a small change. Right. I did that in the wrong spot, didn't I? So I want it to come out straight. Yeah. Straight here, and then arc up this going out of frame. Maybe that means I do take it a little higher. So again, I can add a key here if I would like to. Add key tool. And this can allow me to control the arc of that a little better. So I do want it to eventually be higher. There we go. And it could actually even allow me to dip it here if I wanted to, but I don't think it is. This is feeling pretty good. So it jumps out, comes over, jumps in. There we go. Not bad. I'll probably polish a little bit more on this path here in just a second. Some of it's just to do with where it rotates and when it rotates. So the other thing I want to look at though is this translate X. So translate X is the side-to-side motion. It's this motion. And I think there's a couple spots where we can make that a little punchier too. So for example, maybe as we zoom in here, we really want to anticipate pulling back onto this.
Right. Don't stand right.
And so maybe the way we do that is by going a little bit further forward when we pop up. And then it can drift back into this. So I wanted to kind of go back a little harder on that and then anticipate to there. And then we really just want this takeoff to zoom off, right? And so again, I'm going to break this tangent. You can't see it like this. I have to pull it out a little bit so I can get to the breaking tangent option. It's this one right here. And then I can bend that up and really just make sure we zoom off frame. And then that could be a little faster. All right. So we're getting closer there. Let's see. I don't like this up and down that's happening there. So I gotta fix. It starts to come back down here before it takes off. And I think that really that should be the highest point. So it should be like that. And this. And that way it can dip a little bit as it's taken off. And I could even try adding an extra key here. There we go. And if I really wanted to, I think we could add a little bit more bend here. Add a little bit more bend and just a little bit more rotate down, like this. Maybe by the time we get to here, I take that bend back out of it a little bit more, rotate it up. There we go. And then some of the other things that are bothering me here, if I were to go to that motion trail editor again and create a motion trail for it, I want to just make sure that this motion trail makes sense. So I'm going to look at this from the perspective view really quick and see. Yeah, it's not bad. And then I go back to my Rubicam 2. I think I really just want this to always feel like the ship is pointing along the motion trail. And I think right through here, we kind of get some sort of weird rotation on it. So let's get like a little bit of like aim. Oops, sorry, I'm doing this in the wrong spot. Aim there. Hit S and then delete this one because something's messing up there. I think that it's right through here where you're really starting to see it not line up with the motion trail. There we go. I think that's going to read a little bit better. So if I delete them all now, then we go ahead and turn off our lights and our merge curves. And we watch the whole thing. Let's see. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so let's watch it really quick in the sequencer. Windows, Animation Editor, and Camera Sequencer. And so now I should be able to see it here. Click back here. Oh. So this is one of the things we want to be careful with on the sequencer, is this sequence that we created earlier ended on frame 200. And so it's only going to play through frame 200, right? So what I'm going to do is hit stop and go ahead and delete that sequence. And then I want to do from 70 all the way out to like 230 seems to be what we're doing. Right click, create shot. And so I just bump these up together. There we go. I'll go ahead and end this at 230. There we go. And so now I should be able to watch this. So I still think the spaceship just sort of zooms off screen a little slow. So if I watch it right here, right, how quickly it goes off screen feels just a little slow to me. And so I'm going to just go ahead and grab that. Let me go ahead and put this back in my perspective view. I'll put this. There we go. Go back to my perspective view. And it's really just how long it takes to go from here to there. And so a couple of things I could do is I could do this in the graph editor with my Translate X. And just make that get off frame faster. Do something like that. That's probably going to be the easiest way. That is faster, but now it's kind of hitting the wrong angle right there, so I'll go ahead and rotate it. There we go. And then the last thing I'm seeing here is like, this anticipation feels kind of sluggish, right? I could go from here to here pretty quickly, right? But the amount of time it takes to get to here in the squash is like kind of slow, right? So I'm going to go to Windows, open up that graph editor again, and I'm going to play around with the squash control. Right? And so what you see here with the squash control is it just sort of slowly climbs up, right? And so what I would like to do, so we got it stretching here, back to normal. I'm going to stretch it just a little bit here as it's coming back. And then I'm going to take this kind of more sharply into that. And I think we could also do that a little bit more sharply into the Translate X here too. By the way, if you're looking at your curves, right, and you're like, I would like to zoom in on here, you can Alt right click to zoom in, right? But if you add Shift to that, Shift Alt right click, you can zoom in one axis at a time. So let's do this like this, and then maybe just kind of exaggerate how quickly we get to that pose. And then the other thing here is missing is I don't see us hitting that stretch exactly right here. So squash, that stretch apparently needs to happen just a little bit earlier. Let's try that. Yeah, that's working a little bit better. And so now I can see areas where we can dip. There we go. Let's see how that's looking. There we go. I like it. I like it. So, yeah, let's move on to the next phase.